there, Sapsanamma. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. The 10th General Convention of CPN Unified Socialists begins. Prime Minister Dahal expresses belief the General Convention will decide on unification of communist and leftist parties. 4 ministries in Sudarshan province split to arrange share. Ministers without portfolios given responsibilities, following the Devendra re-appointed minister in Kantipur province. France voting in a parliamentary election that could make history, with the far right closer to power than it has ever been in modern times. And Argentina defeat Peru 2-0 to finish atop Group A and advance into the Copa America quarterfinals. Lautaro Martinez scores a brace in the second half to seal the win. The 10th General Convention of CPN Unified Socialists has kicked off at Nepal Academy Hall in the capital's Kamaladi from today. Discussions on the political report, various programs and reports of the party's regulation and unions are scheduled to be held during the General Convention. Speaking at the inaugural session of the program today, Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal expressed belief that the General Convention would take a decision for the unification of communist and leftist parties. Nepali Congress President Sharma Dewa, Janata Samajwadi Party Nepal Chair Ashok Rai, Nagarik Unmukti Party's Ranjita Shrestha, CPN Unified Socialist leader Jhalanath Khanal, among others, were in fact felicitated in the inaugural of the General Convention of the party. 1,849 representatives are said to participate in the event that will continue until 4th of July. These representatives will elect 299 members of Working Committee and 21 office bearers. Accommodation for the representatives has been arranged in the surrounding area of the program venue, while food is provided to them at the venue itself. The party, which had been formed around 3 years ago, has claimed that this is their 10th General Convention. Prime Minister and CPN Mavi Centre Chair Pushpa Kamal Dahal and CPN UML Chair KP Sharma Oli held a meeting today, which an hour later was joined by Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister Ravi Lamichhane. The 1.5-hour long meeting at the Prime Minister's office in Singadarwar dwelt on contemporary issues. Close aides of the leaders said the meeting was a regular one. Leaders close to the three also said that Dahal and Oli had shown interest in recent development from Rashtra Swatantra Party, in response to which Home Minister Lamichhane had assured that there weren't issues in the party. Oli had only yesterday met with Nepali Congress President Sharma Dewa and his wife Arju Dewa. The meeting has been viewed with much interest as it comes amid series of talks to conclude the transitional justice process and speculations of a change in the ruling equation. Now, Chief Minister of Sudarshan province, Sodari, has expanded the cabinet by dividing 4 ministries and assigned responsibilities to ministers without portfolios. Sodari divided ministries for physical infrastructure development, social development, land management, agriculture and cooperatives, and industry, tourism, forest and environment, while keeping intact the ministries for internal affairs and law and financial affairs. The Ministry for Physical Infrastructure has been divided into Ministries for Water Resources and Urban Development and Physical Infrastructure and Transport Development. Social Development Ministry has been divided into Ministries for Education, Youth and Sports and Health, Women and Children. Sodari has merged the divisions of Ministry for Industry, Tourism and Environment and Ministry of Land Management, Agriculture into one. Sodari has appointed Deputy Leader of Mavi Centre, Akal Bahadur Rawal, as Minister of Water Resources and Urban Development and Lakshmi Bika as Minister of Education, Youth and Sports. CPN UML's Bir Bahadur Thapa has been appointed Minister of Forest, Environment and Cooperatives, Hira Sarki as Minister of Internal Affairs and Law. Likewise, CPN Unified Socialist Maya Panta has been assigned the Ministry for Industry, Commerce, Tourism and Culture. Nagarik Unmukti Party's Kailash Chaudhary has been assigned the Ministry for Physical Infrastructure and Transport, and Tika Thapa, Ministry for Agriculture and Land Reform. Maoist Centre's Om Bikram Bhatt has been assigned the responsibility of Ministry for Health, Women and Children. Elsewhere, Nepal Samajwadi Party's Gandaki province member Phanindra Devkota, who was reinstated by the Supreme Court, has been appointed minister once again and assigned the Ministry for Energy, Water Resources and Drinking Water. Devkota was appointed today by Chief Minister Surendra Pandey. The newly appointed minister was administered the oath of office and secrecy by Province Chief Diliraj Bhatta. On 10th of June, Devkota had voted for Chief Minister Pandey against his party's decision. His party Maoist Centre had taken action against him, after which he had knocked on the Supreme Court doors. Now, the Parliament Day is being celebrated in Nepal, commemorating the day when the first meeting of the Parliament was held. The day is being observed across the country by organizing various programs. The country has been celebrating Parliament Day on 16th of the Nepali month of Asar, when the first meeting of the Parliament was held in 2016. Speaker Devraj Khimire extended his wishes on the occasion of the Parliament Day and said that this will encourage to safeguard democracy and to make the Parliament public-oriented. Likewise, the Speaker urged everyone to be aware about the fundamental identity of the Parliament, which is considered the centre of democracy. It is time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. The question is, why have works of transitional justice not concluded, although it has been 17 years since the peace process concluded? Your options are A, disregard towards victims, B, political ploy, and C, sensitive issue. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. An illegal agreement was reached under the name of a cow farm in Dolakha district to construct its structure by felling a huge number of trees. However, the wood that was used for the construction of the structure of the farm has disappeared overnight. It was found that the Kalinchok Cow Farm and Research Center, which took control of 1,500 hectares of the community forest in Dolakha's Bhimeshwar municipality 8 and 9, was using the wood that was acquired by felling trees. After news was out regarding the farm using a huge amount of wood by felling trees, the wood has vanished. After the Division Forest Office demanded for paperwork for the wood used in the construction of the farm structure on 4th of June earlier this month, the wood disappeared. Meanwhile, Chief District Officer of Dolakha, Tovraj Pokhrel, has informed that he has directed to cancel the agreement at the earliest and move forward the process of taking action against the guilty. According to preliminary investigation, the cow farm reached agreement with 6 community forests illegally and felled trees of 3 community forests of an estimated 50 cubic feet of wood. Time now for international update. France is voting in a parliamentary election that could make history, with the far right closer to power than it has ever been in modern times. The national rally of Marine Le Pen and Jordan Bardella is well ahead in the polls 3 weeks to the day since they won European elections. President Emmanuel Macron reacted immediately by calling a national vote and stunning his country. A high turnout is expected among 49 million voters for such a pivotal election, and polls close in the big cities at 8 p.m. local time. This is a 2-round election, and most of the National Assembly's 577 seats will not be decided until the second round runoff vote next Sunday. The campaign only lasted 20 days, and that also benefited National Rally, which quickly refined its existing promises on immigration, crime and insecurity, as well as tax cuts to tackle the cost of living crisis. Jordan Bardella wants to be the National Rally's first Prime Minister, and his party is confident of winning dozens of constituencies outright in the first round. But he says he will only take the job if the party secures an absolute parliamentary majority of 289 seats. The alternative would be a hung parliament and stalemate. As soon as the first results come in on Sunday evening, National Rally's opponents will have to decide who to back in runoff battles across France in a bid to ensure that absolute majority does not happen. If the polls are right, many of the runoffs will pit the National Rally against a hastily cobbled together left-wing alliance called New Popular Front, which believes it could even win the election. But because of the expected high turnout, 3 parties could qualify for the second round battles in as many as 250 constituencies, according to Bryce Tienturier of Ipsos Polling Institute. In previous elections, parties from across the spectrum have united to keep the far right out. That raises the question of whether one of the candidates will drop out in those triangular races to unify the anti-national rally vote. President Macron's Ensemble Alliance is widely expected to hemorrhage seats, and Gabriel Attal's days as Prime Minister appear numbered, even though polls suggest he remains the most popular politician in the country. Now, Beryl, the first named hurricane of the season, is due to make landfall on a number of Caribbean islands late tonight. The major storm is growing in strength as it moves across the Atlantic Ocean towards the Caribbean islands of Barbados, Dominica, Grenada and Martinique, among others. Across the region, people are boarding up their homes, queuing for fuel at gas stations and stockpiling supplies and water in preparation for the storm. Forecasters say that Hurricane Beryl, which formed Friday night, has the potential to grow into a Category 3 storm as it moves from the Caribbean into the Gulf of Mexico in the coming days. They predict that by the time the storm reaches the Windward Islands, made up of Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and even Grenada, there will be hurricane force, winds, a life-threatening storm surge and heavy rainfall. Beryl is the second named storm of the season after Tropical Storm Alberto, which made landfall in northeast Mexico on the 20th of June. The heavy rains of the storm that had killed 4 people. Barbados's Meteorological Service issued warnings of power outages and flash flooding as the eye of the hurricane is expected to pass about 45 kilometers south of the island. The storm is expected to drop up to 6 inches of rain on Caribbean islands, including Barbados. People are boarding up their homes and thronging supermarkets and petrol stations in the Barbadian capital of Bridgetown. Hurricane season, which runs from 1st of June to 30th of November, is predicted to be a busy one this year, according to forecasters. Now, Russian forces yesterday fired missiles at the town of Vilnyansk outside the southeastern Ukrainian city of Zaporizhia, killing 7 people, including 2 children, and injuring 31 others. President Volodymyr Zelensky repeated his appeal to allies to provide Ukraine with more long-range weapons and enhanced air defenses to stop what he said were daily attacks on his country. Ukraine's prosecutor, General Andrei Kostin, said 2 missiles were fired on the town, damaging infrastructure, a shop and residential buildings. Emergency services put the death toll at 7, including 2 children and 31 injured, 8 of them children. Firefighters had put out blazes in several buildings and completed rescue operations. The Russian ministry said its missiles had struck a nearby area in Zaporizhia region, where it said Ukrainian trains unloaded arms and military equipment, killing soldiers and destroying armored vehicles and missiles. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. T20 Cricket World Cup special up next. Stay with us.